You are now listening to the Girl Organize That Life podcast. Coach L3.
Hi, welcome to the Girl Organize That Life podcast, where I am your host, Leslie Latimore-Lorfils, affectionately known as Coach L3. As a mother of 12, who has also served as a senior military officer for nearly 3 decades alongside my husband, I can certainly understand and appreciate who I call the 3C sisters: crazy, chaos, and confusion. If you are an executive level mom, mompreneur, or lady leader who perhaps still struggles with burnout, you have come to the right place where you can receive strategies and tips on how to pivot with poise and conquer the noise. I invite you to take this journey with us to increase your clarity, your confidence, and to conquer the overwhelm. Hope to see you there.
Coach L3.
Hey girl, hey, and welcome to the Girl Organize That Life podcast, where we are now in the final season for season 1, our season finale, our 11th episode. Wow, what a journey this has been. Here at Girl Organize That Life, we empower executive level moms, mompreneurs, and lady leaders to pivot with poise and keep their center. I am Leslie Latimore-Lorfils, known as Coach L3, your host, and I'm so excited that you could join us on this evening. So for this episode, this is a wrap up, and we're going to talk about and just kind of go over some things that we went over these last 10, 11 weeks. We talked about mindset. We talked about boundary setting, time management, goal setting strategies. We had guests on here that talked about mental health. We had guests on here that spoke about what it was to have work-life balance. Even one of our recent guests, we talked about what it is to have a community. Because the truth of the matter is that as busy women, we are pulled in so many directions. So as we're pulled in so many directions, how do we continue to make sure that we are right here centered? This episode is a little different because we're doing a wrap up. And as I just said, those are the subjects that we talked about. And the purpose of season 1 was really to just kind of lay the foundation of the typical pain points that we do deal with as women. We deal with these things. We deal with being scatterbrained and all over the place and feeling like we're everything to everyone, feeling like we don't know how to say no, we can't say no, or we have mom guilt, or oh my gosh, can I take time for myself without feeling like I have failed somewhere? Or can I be an executive and still be looked at and highly respected, right? Can I do those things and not feel deprived in any way? And can we really just make sure that we harness all of those pain points in such a way where we can feel like we do have our center, where we can feel like that we have our footing about ourselves, where we can feel like we have some level of control over how we're functioning. Sometimes we don't, but most times we do. And just like the very first episode, we talked about mindset because it all starts right here in the mind, right out of the gate. If our minds are not in a space and place where we feel like we can conquer these things and we can tackle these pain points, then we'll continue to be in what I call a hamster cycle. We're exerting all of this energy and we're giving everything we have, but we have not moved the needle at all close to our goal. So this episode is the season finale, and we're going to wrap up talking about what it means to reflect and reassess. What does that mean? We're going to do a deep dive on the importance of regularly reflecting on your personal professional progress, right? Have you done those things that we talked about? One thing that I want to mention is that first, what is reflection and reassessment? Reflection, kind of think about when you're driving and you have your rear view mirror and you can see what's behind you. Reflecting is doing just that, thinking about where you've come from, thinking about what that means and what does that mean for you now, right? Now, I want to say this in your time of reflection, don't get stuck on the things that you may feel that may have held you back or may have hindered you. Continue to look at those things and figure out ways how you can make those areas that may be challenging and turning them into springboards to get you to your next. That segues greatly into reassessing. We're constantly having to think about what's next. I know that as a mom of 12, serving in the military with my husband, with my spouse, all the demands, all the things, running a business, keeping up with the children, even with their individual things. Do you know how stretched thin I can become? And so when I realized that, oh my gosh, Leslie, you are like the rubber band is getting ready to pop, I have to release instantly in the moment and say, okay, stop. Okay, like stop, stop, and let's reassess what we have going on. Because what I find that when I'm like a rubber band ready to pop, I'm not the nicest person. I'm very irritable. I am not the most productive. My anxiety is through the rooftop, and I am not centered at all. And so that's the whole point of Girl Organize That Life. That's what we do here. We give you tips and strategies on how to do these things. And part of it in this wrap up is reassessing. First, we reflect, we recognize, we look, we revisit, and then we reassess where are we, right? And so that's a personal thing. Like I experience it, I can completely relate and understand where you may be. Part of reflecting is, taking like a step-by-step process, if you will, to really evaluate your current strategies and practices. Are they working for you? Are they working for you? If they're not working for you, why aren't they working for you? And what is it that you can do to change that so that you can feel like you're progressing and that you're not regressing? And when you do that, listen, most times when we're doing introspection, because this is partly what that is, that's a hard thing to do sometimes. That's a hard place to be sometimes. I encourage you all to be very honest. Take an honest inventory of your successes and of your challenges and write them out. My mom calls it a T list. And, it's a T draw. Literally, you draw a piece of paper, get a piece of paper, a T. The letter T, on one side you have your pros, one side you have your cons, or one side you may have your successes, one side you have your challenges, and kind of write those things out. And then look at your T list and say, And then honestly, these are the types of things that's going to help you to really look at your progression. And then you will realize, I'm really further than what I thought. I talked about that throughout this season, giving yourself grace, because we tend to do that. We are like our worst critic. We will come down so hard on ourselves and not stop to say, Leslie, you know what? You did great with that. Much better now than you were 3 months ago. Much better now than you were a week ago. Ladies, it is not, you didn't just get here in one night and one day and 1 minute. You're not going to get out of these things in one night, 1 day, 1 minute. It is a process. It is a process. And I just heard recently, I forget what I was listening to, but they said that who you're becoming in the process is more important than the process itself. And that is so true. So embrace your journey. Think about tools and techniques for effective reflection. Like, what can that be? It could be like journaling, meditation, talk to your peers or your mentors and ask for very candid feedback on some of these things. Ask them, how do they see you? Because those that know you, they know you. And they can say, oh, you know what? I noticed a difference with you this past week. You seem a little more upbeat. You seem well rested. You seem like you are just like more jovial. Hey, what's going on with you? And then you can say, well, lean in and let me tell you. I've been listening to the Girl Organize That Life podcast, and I've been getting all of the good from Coach L3. Right? So think about that. Also using the SWOT analysis. That's when you're gonna look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Do a SWOT analysis with yourself as you're doing your reflecting. I always talk about our tagline here. We pivot with poise. We pivot with poise despite the noise. That is so like direct, right? What necessary adjustment do you need to make without feeling overwhelmed? Are you able to do it in the moment sometimes? Are you able to do it when life throw you curveballs? And sometimes, ladybugs, if I can just say, pivoting with poise may mean simply pausing right there in that moment, closing your eyes, putting your hands over your chest, very soft and just like you're embracing yourself. And then you decide, it is a moment. It is only a moment. And in that moment, take a deep breath and breathe it out. That deep breath that you take should be a beautiful reminder that that is a gift called life. And not to let life overtake you so much that you forget how much of a gift it truly is. That's part of pivoting with poise. And I love to say despite the noise, because the fact of the matter is we have so many competing requirements, so many things that pull us this way, that way, this way, that way. And you're just feeling like, oh my God, I cannot seem to find myself in the moment. So we get our center right then. And the breathing technique, listen, it works. It works in the moment. It absolutely works. So I encourage that. And then after you say, oh, I'm gonna pivot with poise, create an action plan. Like, what does that look like, right? Um, Develop what it is you're trying to do, what goals you're trying to reach, maybe reset some. And then after you put what your goals are, then you're gonna put down action 1, 2, 3. Those are called your tactics. The tactics that you're going to execute to reach the goal. And remember, you cannot boil an ocean. You cannot build an elephant or eat the elephant all at once. You can't build a city in a day. You know, these things we say as cliche, but it's really true, right? Set milestones. And when you have a small victory, celebrate it. So if you completed 2 tasks this week and you only completed 1 last week, celebrate that. Give yourself permission to celebrate and to amplify your small wins, because psychologically, it's going to tell you, oh, that's really a big win. Why? Because you're going to feel more accomplished. Also, look at overcoming, how you can overcome any obstacles. Address any common obstacles in your reflection and your reassessment. What are some common obstacles that you may have? It may be the most common one that I have found with my clients and with women that I've spoken to and people that are coming in contact with me, and even for myself sometimes, I don't have enough time. I'm not going to have enough time to do that. And so sometimes when that's just an example, if you feel like, oh, I'm not going to have enough time to do XYZ, you will talk yourself out of doing XYZ. And sometimes when you talk yourself out of something, you are blocking your blessing and you are negating, you are aborting an assignment that might be just for you when you talk yourself out of something. And you have to remember that your life is not yours alone. Your life is a reflection of those that you are attached to, goals that you're trying to accomplish, successes you've already had. Like, it's so much bigger than you, which is why it's so important that you keep yourself in a good place. And then think about how you can incorporate reflection into your daily life. How can you do that, right? Morning and evening reflections. Pick a time in the morning where you might want to do it. If morning doesn't work for you, because everyone is not a morning person, pick an evening time. Just make sure you do the reflection on a daily basis. Because when you look back, particularly if you journal, you will look back over that journal over 4, 5, 6 months, years time, And when you read, you're like, oh my gosh, the exponential amount of growth that has transpired is just beyond my wildest imagination. I never thought that I would get here. I never thought that in a 3-month time, I would be able to consistently accomplish 3 tasks, major tasks, instead of it being 0. Because when I was at 0, I was trying to multitask. I was trying to do 5 things at once, and I ended up getting none of them complete. That's not a sense of accomplishment. That's going to breed a sense of frustration. So make sure you do that. And make it a regular habit. And then lastly, I want you all to really remember how amazing you are, how powerful you are, how amazing and powerful you are in your own right, and that someone needs what you have to give. Someone needs your strength. Someone needs your resolve. Someone needs to know that, oh my gosh, if she did it, I can do it too. If she can do it with 12 kids while serving, with a very demanding career, with her husband, I can do it too. If she can do that with all of those things and still have her center, I can do it too. If she can do that and still look youthful and be jovial, I can do it too. If she can do that and still have a smile on her face because she is satisfied with the fact that she's doing it and she's making mission, I can do it too. Someone is going to need your story. So it's important that you really hone in on how powerful you are and share that with other people. I am so blessed to have completed this journey with you all. Season 1 of the Girl Organize That Life podcast. When I tell you, it is my joy to come to you every week and to give you value and to give you something that I believe is going to propel you and catapult you to your next. That brings me joy. It has been an exciting journey to finally be here. And it is so exciting to wrap up season 1, which I call the foundation. It's super exciting. If you ever feel like you want to go deeper with me on an individual basis, and we have some one-on-one and we do some laser discussions, please feel free to reach out and go to girlorganizethatlife.com. Or you could go to Latimore-Lorfils.com and set up a 15-minute catalyst call with me, and let's see how we can go deeper. I encourage you to also subscribe to our podcast. We are in several areas: Apple, Spotify, we're on YouTube, and there are other outlets that this podcast appears and or is audible. Please share with your friends, share with other women that could use what we are giving, what we're offering here. And if you have a review for us, even give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if there are topics that you would like us to touch upon, so that we can continue to edify you, because that's what we're here for. We're here to serve. We have servant hearts here at Girl Organize That Life, and we want to continue to just edify the masses and remind you how amazing and how powerful you are. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for coming every week to just indulge. And we look forward to seeing you in the next season. And meanwhile, as you go about your daily life, don't forget what we're about here. Pivot with poise despite the noise. I look forward to seeing you in season 2. Meanwhile, be blessed, and I'll see you soon.
Coach
Take
L3.
care for now. Bye-bye.